What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and this is the Team Building Series Team Spotlight. This particular episode will be number 16, and it's going to feature two of the newest characters in the game, Ares and Elektra. So basically, this team is combining the Master Assassin with the God of War, so we're going to name it Masters of War, and this team up definitely lives up to that name. As always, we will start out against the computer, then we're going to move into an incursion battle, and finally finish with some PvP action. With Elektra's turn, we're going to start out with the Rain of Blood. That hits all the enemies and places internal bleeding, hobbled, and ravaged. Next, Ares is going to get a turn, so we're going to start out with Personal War, and you should pretty much always use this ability, unless you're in a PvP situation where you may get counterattacked. Next, we thought about using his level 9 to get some stuns, but that would give focused attacks to all these blasters. So instead, we went with his level 1, the Art of War. That also capitalizes on those bleeds, so it goes really well with Elektra. On my agent's turn, we thought it'd be pretty cool to use the Stalker. We figured we could get some counterattacks from surveillance. In theory, it was a pretty good strategy, but it doesn't work out very well against the computer. At least not regular minions. And that's just because we kill the enemies too fast, especially when we get all of our team-up attacks. Some of my other weapon choices involve the Neurotrope or possibly the Shepherd's Staff, and I will use those in later PvP battles. The amazing thing about this team is the fact that they get so many attacks. They join in on each other's attacks, and their passives are really amazing because of this. Elektra also has a level 9 Assassinate, so anytime you get an opponent near death, she can finish them off. And this goes for Phoenix as well, or for anyone on Phoenix's team. And that's because no Death and Rebirth will proc when you use Fatal Blow. Also, Ares comes with a level 2 that applies Despair to all enemies. So this team is very capable of handling Phoenix, and any teams based around her, which is most of the teams that you will face in PvP. The only thing that you may have to worry about is survivability, and that's because there's no heal or no resurrect effects. One of the ways around this may be to use a protect weapon on your agent. You also could use the Sinister Scepter along with the protect weapon to go into astral form. Now that Ares' turn is coming up once again, we will be using his level 9, and it's certainly an incredible attack. It's catastrophic, it has a chance to stun all enemies, and it removes their buffs. You really can't ask for too much more than that from a level 9. Now it's time to crush your enemies. So there it goes, it does pretty decent damage and stuns 2 out of 3 of the enemies. Then on our agent's turn, we used the Power Cell Mark III. And we follow that up with a Stalker attack, which really was kind of a waste since we are a scrapper, and we're definitely going to finish him off. We did put surveillance on all of our characters, and that is the benefit from having a high capacity charge. Basically, if someone with that electronic tracking round goes ahead and attacks, your entire team that has surveillance will attack them back. When it works right, it can be quite devastating. So it looks like Ares is going to finish off this battle, and we're going to use his level 1 to go ahead and take out this last infiltrator. Then we're going to move on to the second PvE battle. This battle was actually really short, but it was quite impressive. You'll see the very first turn, Master Assassin will proc. So Elektra preemptively strikes that infiltrator. Then on top of that, when he finally does go through with the attack, she will dodge it. And that's just her passive working really amazingly. On top of that, we got a War Never Changes proc, and we finished that administrator just like that, the very first attack from him even. Next on our agent's turn, we're going to use the Power Cell, but then we're going to shoot the Coulson's Revenge. And that's because this is an infiltrator, so if we used the Stalker, we would just finish him with the follow-up attack anyway. And just like that, the first wave is already behind us. Now we just have to face this lone blaster. He does hit Ares quite hard, but then we're going to get 3 turns in a row. So there's no way he's making it past this. Let's start with the Stalker. Then on Elektra's turn, let's use our level 2 ability, which is Ancient Art, and that will put flanked on the opponent. So now we'll gain a second attack when attacking him. But our agent joins in and it's over that quick. So now we're moving on to an incursion battle with this team. And we do get the first turn with Ares, but then they're going to get 3 turns in a row. We're going to begin Ares' turn by using Personal War on the Scrapper agent. Then after that we're of course going to use his level 9. That's because we have to remove those buffs from Thor, or else he'll do some major damage to our team. First up for the opponents is Emma Frost, so we'll see exactly what she's going to do. She starts out with a mental trauma. It luckily doesn't do a ton of damage, and that's because she doesn't have cosmic power, and she didn't use unlock potential. On their agent's turn, Master Assassin procs, so we hit him with heavy size, and we're going to avoid the attack from the Fury. Once again, this shows how amazing Elektra is against melee attacks. Then on top of all that, she's going to dodge the follow-up attack from the Scrapper as well. And to make matters even worse for his team, she does have combat reflexes, so she counterattacks and finishes their agent. Thor was stunned from Crush Your Enemies, so now it's our turn. We'll use Ancient Art on Emma Frost. That way we put Flanked on her. Our agent will use the Power Cell, and then he's going to gain Coordinated Attack. Then we're going to follow that up by using the Coulson's Revenge on Thor. This should do some major damage, so let's see if we can one-shot him. At the very least, it looks like we're going to do most of his health bar, but we did finish him in one hit. So now it's Personal War on Emma Frost, and that's going to bring up Weak Point and Organic Recovery. Now we'll definitely take her out with an Art of War. And even if we didn't, she had flanks, so we would get a follow-up attack on her. Now it's on to the first of our PvP battles, and we're facing a Modern Thor and P5 Cyclops. It looks like their agent will be using the Hotshot, so we gotta hope that he doesn't stun Ares. It's really important that we remove those buffs from Thor. That way he doesn't do a Summon Thunder and do tons of damage on our entire team. So Elektra was stunned, but Ares is just enraged. And this should help us out quite a bit. So we're going to use Personal War. And we'll shoot the Scrapper agent. So it does really good damage. And then we're going to get to follow that up with the Crush Your Enemies. This of course removes all their buffs. And has a chance to stun their team. That really is pretty decent damage. And we get a double stun. So we couldn't hope for too much more. We stun both Cyclops and Thor, and at this point we pretty much have the battle won, and that's all thanks to Ares. It's really funny how the whole battle can shift on whether or not you stun. Oh, and I almost forgot, I did switch the Scroll of Angolob and the Shepherd's Staff, and that's just for this battle only. So let's go ahead and try out that staff, and see if we can get some extra attacks for Ares and Elektra. Now let's use Coulson's Revenge on their agent. And it's going to do a pretty big hit, and it finishes him off. Now it's Elektra's turn. What we're thinking is, we should go ahead and hit them with the Ancient Art. And that's going to put Flanked on Cyclops, making it a lot easier to knock him out of this battle. Especially since we're going to get multiple attacks with Elektra and Ares. With our second attack, we're going to use her first ability, Heavy Size, on Cyclops. So that hits him, puts another internal bleed on him, and then causes hemorrhaging. Since he was flanked, she'll do another Heavy Size, and that's going to overkill him. On Ares' turn, we're going to use his quick action level 6, and then follow that up with a level 1. So when you use the Art of War, it's really similar to some of Elektra's attacks. It just applies normal bleeding, but it causes ravaged and hemorrhaging. And one more hit should finish Thor off. And that's the end of the very first battle. Now moving on to our second and final battle, it will be against the ever-popular Phoenix and Cyclops team. So let's see how these two handle Phoenix. Now we did switch to the Tactician Power Armor, and we also have the Neurotrope rather than the Shepherd's Staff. So we will begin the battle by using the Neurotrope, and then we'll gain Coordinated Attack. Next, we're going to use the Coulson's Revenge. So let's fire that on Cyclops. And usually with a team that has a Fatal Blow character, like Elektra, I like to get Cyclops pretty low on health, and then assassinate him. But I didn't expect this, she does join in right away. So in our very first attack, we will proc Death and Rebirth from Phoenix. This is both good and bad. It's good as long as we get an attack with Ares, but it's bad if he somehow gets stunned. So we're hit with the Numbing Needle, and we don't see this item used too often, but it's followed up by a Warbringer Axe attack. And of all things, that stuns Ares, and that's due to the groggy debuff. So Phoenix uses Phoenix Fire on our team, but Ares somehow lives. Now we're going to get attacked by Cyclops on top of everything. So he'll start out by using Evasive Maneuvers, and he gives everyone combat expertise. But when he goes to attack, we do proc two amazing passive abilities, 10,000 Yard Stare and Master Assassin. So we're going to intimidate Cyclops, and then on top of that Elektra hit him, and then dodge the attack. Then Ares gets War Never Changes as well, and Combat Reflexes procs. So that was just an amazing turn of events, and everything went off for our team. Now after that epic exchange, we feel like we could easily win this battle. Let's go ahead and put Ancient Art and Flanked on Phoenix. So now Flanked is on Phoenix, and that should help us out quite a bit. Ares also joins in on the attack with an Art of War, so it looks like we will be able to take Phoenix out pretty quick here. So on our agent's turn, we're going to start by using the scroll, and that's going to remove all their buffs, so I won't have to worry about any counterattacks. And then with our agent, we got the optic camo anyway, but we're going to use the Warbringer Axe. That easily finishes Phoenix. Then once again we get a Master Assassin proc and a 10,000 Yard Stare. So as if the first time it happened wasn't amazing enough, we got it a second time in the very same battle. And at this point I was really excited and so happy that I was recording, because I get to share it with everyone. That right there is pretty much this team at its best. There's just tons of attacks going on, we're lowering their attacks, Elektra's jumping in front of melees, and then on top of that she's counterattacking due to combat reflexes. So now we're just going to use a simple Art of War, and that ends the battle. And that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I do want to thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a rating. Also, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the button. I really appreciate it. Thanks once again, and as always, good luck and take care.